Hello and welcome to Healing Tips from the Heart, Intuition with Helpers, Healers, and Guides. I am your host, Dr. Lori Hops, licensed psychologist, writer, and artist. I've explored mind, body, and spirit related to intuition, or your personal guidance system, since early childhood. Meet my guests who have learned from their personal and professional lives to explore vast realms of knowing, synchronicities, and overcoming challenges. Their stories may inspire you with tools to enhance your daily living and relationships. Hello, everyone, and welcome my special guest for today, Tammy Anderson Ward. Tammy, hi, Tammy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. It's so great to see you. I'm going to tell people a little bit about your wonderfulness. Tammy is a pioneering voice in the field of holistic wellness and energy healing. She's the founder and producer of the Energy Healing Conference, recognized as one of the largest events of its kind in the world. She has created expansive platforms that bring together experts, practitioners, and thousands of attendees seeking evidence-informed holistic approaches to well-being. Over the past 10 years, Tammy has produced more than 100 large-scale wellness events across the U.S. where ancient practices and modern science meets. Tammy has a background as an entrepreneur and is deeply committed to personal growth. Her work bridges the gap between intuitive healing arts and measurable outcomes. She's passionate about empowering individuals to explore modalities such as foot zoning, breathwork, sound therapy, and vibratactile wellness technology, which I'd love to hear more about. That's a new one for me. Her events and mentorship programs have supported countless professionals, from physicians and therapists to wellness coaches and scientists, expanding their perspectives about what is possible in healing, human potential, and whole person health. And I am so happy to bring you here today, Tammy.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure to get to know you online. And of course, we got to meet in person at the conference for the ASAP, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Over in Baltimore. So,
yeah. Well, I heard about who you were before you came to the conference because of your amazing events. And people were like, Tammy's coming. I'm like, wow, who's Tammy? And they're like,
right.
she does these amazing events and, she's coming to ours. And then when I saw you, I didn't know you were the Tammy that everyone was talking about so beautifully, but I just saw your light. And
Oh,
I said, I need to meet this person. Who is this like ball of sunshine standing in the middle of the lobby? So I'm
oh,
so glad
that's
that we
so sweet.
met. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And honestly, you are so friendly. You have such a good energy about you too. Such a professional demeanor, but also very, very warm and welcoming. And I really didn't know anybody there except for maybe, I knew Dr. Brad Yates and I knew David Feinstein.
Hmm.
He and I have been friends since he spoke at my conference in 2017, but I didn't know anybody else. Like I was like, I felt like such kind of a loner, but you were just so warm. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed getting to know you better. You're such a sweetheart.
Thank you. Yeah. I feel like we're kind of connected on the same, we vibe in a similar way.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah. So, we were talking about what would be a great thing, to talk about today. And one of the things, I mean, obviously, when I heard about all these events you do, and I want to hear more about that and these technologies that you're aware of, it was so impressive. But the thing that even pushed me more into just feeling so connected to you and comfortable was your authenticity and how open you are about who you are as a person. My hunch is that there isn't a thick filter between how you present to the
Wow.
outside world and who you are authentically inside, that they're one and the same. And a lot of times people feel like they have to hide parts of themselves in order to, quote, succeed. And here
Mhm.
you are just like breaking all these barriers and bringing people together and standing like so firmly in who you are as a person and what you've been through in your life. So, if you wouldn't mind sharing with the audience a little bit about your journey, because
Yeah.
I think that it's going to maybe even enhance more all the
Mhm.
great things that you're creating today if they know more about your past.
Oh, well, you're such a sweetheart. So before we continue, I have to tell you guys, sometimes I leave my laundry on the floor, and sometimes I spill things and I don't clean them up. And sometimes I listen to rock and roll music way too loud. So like there are some things that other people may not like about me, but I'm just me. You know what I mean? And like I feel like healing is embracing who you are and loving yourself. And it's really something that I've had to learn. And there was a time that I tried to hide quite a bit of things about myself because I was trying to fit myself in other people's boxes.
Mhm.
And those were the times when I was the most unhappy. I really felt almost like a depression because I was, trying to hide those things about myself. I'll give you an example. Um, when I was in high school, I was trying to get off of drugs and I moved in with my dad. I was trying to get clean. And I didn't know that my dad not only did drugs himself, but he sold it. And I'm not talking like marijuana, I'm talking like meth. Like we were smoking, you know, out of a glass pipe, for my entire senior year of high school. I only slept 5 nights. And just so you know, I want you to know that I've spoken with my dad and I'm like, I would like to share this part of our life.
Mhm.
May I have your permission to speak openly? Because I don't have any shame around it. It was something that we did and it was a long time ago, but it is something that has kind of formed my journey as an adult because it's allowed me to have compassion for people who are really struggling. It's allowed me to see people differently. I'm not recommending for people to go do meth so they can have compassion, by the way.
Yeah.
But it really kind of messed me up for a while. And I'm really grateful now that I went through it. But let me tell you something. It was really hard to stop. And I've been clean now for 27 years from meth. And that's not to say that I haven't had other things that I've had a hard time stopping, right? Like I've had a hard time stopping social media and I've recognized it. I've had a hard time, with food. I've had food stuff. Like I've still had other things, but having this particular thing so young when I was a senior in high school, I feel like has actually shifted and allowed me to have empathy. And I feel like it's really, I don't know how else to say it other than I feel like I'm allowed this beautiful gift to be able to see people in this more humanness. I don't know. And here's the thing is like I know that there's other people who they can also see people without doing math. But for me, that was the thing I feel like it was like the rock bottom point for me and it allowed me. So anyway, that's just one of the things. And it's really interesting because I think that there's a lot of therapists that are out there, a lot of people who are in the healing arts, people who help others who have been through really hard things,
Yeah.
whatever it is, because everybody's got their own story, right? Or maybe they just have this deep love for people. That is a gift to be able to have that. But anyway, that really has, I think, helped me on my journey quite a bit.
Oh, how generous of you to share this story that's so painful and telling and so personal to you. Thank you for that. That's a deep gift to be
Yeah.
that available. We have a society that is deep in shame and wanting to hide shadow secrets. And it takes incredible courage to not only overcome your own personal obstacles, and live and thrive, but then to be brave enough to come forward. And that's your strength, that
Yeah.
ability to connect with others so genuinely from your heart. And,
Well,
yeah.
I appreciate you saying that because really, I know that only 1%, they say statistically, ever stop doing meth, but then not just stop, but then thrive in their life. And my dad also, he stopped 1 year after me. Um, Unfortunately, it did take him going to prison for a few years,
Hmm.
but he's never gone back to it. And that we still have some quirks about us. It doesn't mean that we're like perfect or whatever. We're freaking not. We're totally human. But he's been able to stay clean, and he did that as a choice because he knew that he would not be really invited into his grandchildren's lives if he was an unsafe person. And he was before, but now he is a lot safer than he was before. So
Yeah.
26 years for him, 27 years for me. And we do openly talk about some of our healing journey together often. Actually, I was texting him this morning. So
Oh, I mean, how amazing that you guys were accountability partners in a sense, and that you have a beautiful family. We didn't talk about your family, but you have a very loving and big family. And so there's a lot there that appeals to the heart and to saying no. Oh, and for those on
oh,
audio who you can't see, but Tammy's holding up a beautiful picture of some of her family members. You've had
yeah, I
some new
actually
ones
have
since
more.
that.
Yeah, I've actually had more now because we're up to three grandkids and we've had a few you know, new son-in-laws come on board too. So anyway, it is a very fun family. And that is one thing that we can just be ourselves around each other. That emotional intimacy is so important to us all. And we've been through some things. So it's really beautiful to be able to just enjoy each other's presence
Yeah.
and not have to try and make each other fit into a box, but just openly accept one another. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's so, so precious and so powerful. And congratulations on your journey. And who knows why you went to go live with dad and not knowing what really was happening and then be in it, but then come out of it and then show him a path. I mean, you really have, I mean, when I look at you, I think of angel. You have the angelic energy to me of what we think of kind of as being an angel. And it's like you were an angel sent to him. And you had to kind of walk through that depth and that intensity and that darkness. And just the physiological aspect of coming off and not going back. What we know from brain science, and I'm sure that we only know a little bit about addiction. We're going to learn more and more as time goes on about how that grip, the physiological grip. And like you said, that there's other ways that it shows up, maybe not as intensively, but that um, the compelling nature of the pull to
Mhm.
really like come up with a way of satisfying and calming and regulating the body and the mind and the spirit, which you've also created through your energy work. They talk about like the combination of the angel and the addict and how they're
Mhm.
kind of like opposite ends of the spectrum, but in a circle, they're next door neighbors.
I can see that. I know what you're talking about. Well, my grandmother was a nurse for 40 years. This is my mother's mother, and I was very close with her, even though we lived in different states. She had a very big influence on me. And when she retired as a nurse, she actually went to the more holistic route for her own healing experience, for her own personal healing experience. So
Mhm.
she was well versed in using things like homeopathy even like doing muscle response testing. She was trained also in quite a few of Donna Eden's work, which
Okay.
I didn't know until I met Donna Eden. And Donna Eden comes up to me and does the spinal flash. I said, my grandma used to hug me like that. And she looks at me and I'm like, my grandma was a nurse, and of course, Donna used to train nurses. Anyway, as I got to know Donna more and more on the stage watching, I'm like, my grandma did all of this stuff on us. And then she trained with a gentleman from Germany and learned reflexology. And so like when I was a little girl, if we got, say a sore throat, my grandma, even though she was trained traditionally as a nurse, she wouldn't take us to go get an antibiotic. Instead, what she would do is she would have us do like the lion's yoga pose, and she would rub our big toe with some oils, and she'd have us gargle with some cayenne pepper or some apple cider vinegar or something like that with some warm water, It was so funny. And then, if it didn't take care of it right away, then of course she would, encourage us to get some extra help. I mean, she never ever it discouraged us from going to the doctor.
Mhm.
Instead, just knowing that there were these complementary things that you could do, to take care of yourself as well. So, it's just kind of funny how that kind of comes full circle. Literally, as I was watching Donna, this is in 2017, and my grandmother graduated from this life on 7/7 of '07,
Oh,
and which is kind of interesting if you follow numerology at all,
yeah.
right? But I don't know. It's just really cool to be able to see how this all comes full circle on this. And my grandma was somebody who, when I was in the thick of the addiction, when I was a younger teenager, she never looked at me with shame or embarrassment. She never looked at me as if I was like hopeless. Instead, she just looked beyond that as if she could see me past it. And I'm like, seriously, I think this woman was like ahead of her time or something. But it's kind of cool. So yeah, the energy healing conferences were a way for me to get the word out about some of the people who had been helping me and my family.
Ah,
And that's kind of how they started.
I see. That was going to be my next question is because how did you I know that so I was a guest on your live stream and you told the story about finding some integrative care for yourself. But I didn't understand that your grandma really was priming the pump, that she had like planted
Oh
the
yeah,
seeds for years without you really having a language for it. So it's almost like you've rediscovered your own home.
that's how it feels. I love the way that you said that.
Yeah.
Because truly, it wasn't that she was, some people might say, oh, well, only people who are uneducated or ignorant would choose that versus, this normal mainstream way. But she was very skilled in that. She had years and years of experience in that. And I try not to, um, I really want people to know that all types of people are choosing this because it's effective,
Yeah.
not because they don't have any other choices or because that's the only way that they know. A lot of people choose it simply because it works. It's
Right.
effective.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Yep. Super. So how did you get to start this incredible series of 100 events? Like, what was the first couple that made you say, I need to do this? Or how can we do this?
so the first one that I ever did, I went to our local university. And I told them I'm thinking about doing this event. I sat down with a piece of paper and a pencil and I just started jotting down ideas. And I can kind of see it unfolding here. And would this be a good place? And the guy, that was helping me is like, yeah, I could totally see this happening. And how many people do you think would come? And I said, maybe like 300. And he said, okay, we ended up with 1,400 at that very first one. And luckily for us, it was at a university where those other rooms that were around were not already, like reserved for other things.
Yeah.
So what we would do is we would just add on more and more rooms. And then we were allowed to grow because of that. And it was huge. And in fact, my husband came to the event and he comes up to me and he said, "Where did all of these people come from?" Because I didn't go to school on how to host events like this. It really was, I feel like almost like the universe just delivered it to me, just effortlessly flowed. And now here's the thing about that. So I say that, but then at the same time, I had been homeschooling. I have 8 children, and at the time I had seven. And all this time leading up to that, I had been hosting clubs and events, smaller scale. I would say the largest one, well, I did do a homeschool conference before that, one ever. And we had about 500 people to that one. But previously to that, no more than maybe 50 people.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's almost like it was this gradual flow that happened. Do you know what I mean? But people
Yeah.
knew me as a community supporter, someone who really cared. I wasn't trying to gouge people. I mean, I do this because I love people.
Yeah.
And so I feel like when they saw it, it just became this open door. Of course, they knew a lot of them anyway knew me, but we had people from 28 states, and I hadn't lived in 28 states, you know. So we did
Wow.
have people just come from everywhere, and actually it was an international event the very first time because we had a couple from Australia that had come, and then we also had a few people from Canada that came as well to the very
That's
first one.
that's incredible. And that this was focused on, was it mostly vendors that were showing
Um,
about energy healing, or
we
what
had
was
classes
it?
and we also had vendors. So those
Okay.
two things. And it was energyhealingconference.com has been my website the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's been a beautiful thing. And then at the end of that, by the way, I wasn't planning on doing more than one. You know what I mean? And it about wiped me out. I was pregnant with my eighth baby
Right.
and had been homeschooling 7 kids, didn't have any employees. I really didn't know what the heck I was doing, to be honest. But I just felt this drive, it was very, I feel like very heart-centered,
Hmm.
because I genuinely wanted people to know the people who had been helping me. So anyway, it was just kind of how it came full circle at the time because I was homeschooling my teenage daughters. I said, well, maybe you'll need to know how to do a website in the future. So do you guys want to help me? So we took a whole month off of their regularly scheduled, curriculum, and we just dove into, they helped me learn how to do a logo. They helped me learn how to make a flyer. We were learning it together as we did it.
Wow.
They helped me set up my website and helped me with social media. I got them all Chromebooks. None of them had had anything like that before. All sat on the couch for like a month and did nothing except for like, prepare for this. And then
Wow.
it was so beautiful. In fact, we had the author of the book called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And um, it's a really beautiful reference guide, kind of similar to Louise Hay's Heal Your Body, Heal Your Life book. Um, but anyway, she came and like the crowds were just so huge. And Dr. Bradley Nelson, which I didn't even know him at the time. Now I consider him a friend. But when he came, there was about 700 people in his first class, and the crowds were just, anyway, it was really beautiful. And 2 weeks later I said to my kids, I said, I think we need to do that again. And they said, okay. So then we booked one in California, we did one in Escondido, and we did
Hmm.
one in Idaho, Falls, Idaho. And then we did one in Orem, Utah. And we did all of that before I had my baby. So it was like bam, bam. And that's really how it's been ever since. We've just been doing them one after another. So,
Wow. And do you have sponsors?
so each time that we do one, we try to find sponsors that would
Mhm.
align with the message and what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And so the speakers are our sponsors, so they
Uh-huh.
do invest to be there. And then they also get like a great value. They get the vendors and tickets, and
Yeah.
of course they get a lot of value there too. But so yeah, the one that we just completed, we had about 105 vendors,
Wow.
which was incredible. People from all over the place came to that one. And then we also, had 2 full days packed, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. of not just classes like lecture style, but also experiences,
Yeah.
qigong, and we could do sound healing and breath work. And I mean, it is like you plan to be there the full time. I mean, it's really incredible. So,
It's like having a retreat and a conference and networking and the
yeah.
vendors and shopping experience and all rolled into one. So it's so amazing. It's so clear that you know how to follow your yes.
Yes, it's been
Yeah,
awesome.
and then sink into it. That's so wonderful. So what I'm wondering is, so clearly the community was hungry for this. There was probably nothing like it, and and you came with a solid reputation. They knew that they were going to get a really good product and experience because of all the work you had already put into the community. But it stays and it grows because of how well supported it is. So I'm curious about, I mentioned one of these technologies in your bio that I'm not familiar with. Could you tell us a little bit more about that and maybe also about foot zoning? Because I think people might want to know some new
Yeah.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one is tactile technology, and it's short for VTT. This is kind of what it looks like when it comes in a package to you. This one I have used pretty regularly every day since I found out about it. They were a vendor at our conference last summer,
Hmm.
and we were hobbling around. That was a 3-day conference with 140 vendors. So I was walking around at the end and they grabbed me and they said, "Hey, you look like you're in pain a little bit." And I said, "Is it that obvious?" Like, "Yes, I am." And there's a patch. It looks like, let me see if I can actually
Like
kind
a
of show.
post-it, it looks like a post-it note for those of you who are on audio only.
Yeah, it's a 2 inch by 2 inch. It's like a sticker. It has an adhesive on the back. But do you see how it's like got almost like a thumbprint? See
Yeah,
that?
I do actually.
How it has like a code?
Yes.
So the gentleman who created this technology, the ideas behind it have been around since the 1930s. So that's a
Okay.
very long time. Um, but then you just take the little sticker here, and you just put it right on your skin. And the idea is that the code you're in, because your skin is intelligent, your skin will send the message through and it'll help the new neural pathways to be formed. Now, I was a little bit skeptical at first until they put one on me. So
Uh-huh.
this one is for pain.
Hmm.
And at the conference, because now I've shared openly my story about addiction, when my friend who was the vendor, she put 3 of these on me, and because it turned off the pain receptors so quickly, I actually was very upset with her and I pulled it off and I said, "Dude, I'm an addict. You cannot put this on me." I
Yeah.
thought it had like fentanyl or something in it.
Um,
I was so upset, but there's no drugs in it at all. It's just the code,
well,
simply.
so it sounds like what it did is it activated your own receptors. Do you recognize the sensation and the consciousness state that it was creating naturally in your body? But yeah, you were worried that you were under the influence of a substance, which you sort of were, but it was your own substance.
That's exactly right. But I did pull it off until I learned more about it. I mean,
Yeah,
I pulled
yeah,
it off again.
yeah.
And my husband, who's had chronic back pain for about 30 years, he slaps these on his butt cheeks every day, puts one on each side because it literally takes his back pain away. And
Wow.
so anyway, I love it because there's no side effects and you can't get addicted to it because it's not even anything, it's just a little patch that you put on, but it's called vibral tactile technology. And I could send you more information, but we send out free samples to people who want to see if it will work for them. The
Okay.
one the ones I use every day are peace.
Uh-huh.
I use the one for joy
Mm-hmm.
every day because that's been something I've struggled with kind of on and off my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been really helpful for me. And then the other one is for focus.
Okay,
And
cool.
a lot of athletes are now using this company as well. They even have one that can help replace like energy drinks and too much caffeine. This one's called Boost. There's
Mm-hmm.
some people who just can't have because they might be caffeine sensitive.
Yeah.
This would be perfect for them because then they could use that. I mean, I had a traumatic brain injury in 2021 and I really struggled with my sleep. So I use this one at night. And it did take me about a week. This is really interesting. I wore this every night. I put it on just before bed. I'd lay down and I just slept like normal. I couldn't hardly sleep, but it was on and off. I'd wake up through the night.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of normal for some perimenopausal women
Yeah.
too,
Right.
anyway. But since I've been using this at night, I sleep all the way through the night. It's been fabulous. There's one for men with male stamina. It's called Rocket, and I can vouch for that one too. It's helpful. This one has been really helpful. You can actually see my husband has a video where they do a micro, what's it called? It's where you look at your blood. Do you know what
Uh-huh.
that's called?
No.
And so they look at the blood cells and then they put this patch on and in 30 minutes then they look at the blood cells again. And the first one all the blood cells are all clumped together and close. And then the second one doing nothing different other than this. They're all spread apart and healthy and moving. I
And
can't
that
remember the name.
was the defend for immune function?
Yeah. And so after seeing that, it's really cool to know that it's making that fast of a difference,
Yeah.
doing nothing different. So if somebody has been struggling with like inflammation and things like that, this is just another option to help people, with stuff like that. I have a diagnosis of Hashimoto's since 2018. So things like that are really important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Knowing that there's this other thing that you can do in addition
Super.
to what other options are there.
Yeah.
As far as foot zoning goes, I
Well,
learned
let me just
how to do
ask
that.
you
Oh,
two quick questions.
go ahead.
I'm not familiar with this product that you just shared with us, but I'm a little bit familiar with life patches. I think they're called
Uh-huh.
life patches, a similar kind of a thing where you have tabs that you put on your skin and you can wear, they look like little tiny, tiny band-aids or something. And they are supposed to be able to regulate the system too. Is that similar or different technology to this?
It's totally different. The
Okay.
only similar thing, because I'm familiar with them as well, and I really like their products as well. They are, the way that I understood it when it was explained to me is that they are reflecting back through. So you're using your own stem cell therapy. Um, and I could be wrong, but that's how it was explained to me. So that's how I
Okay.
understood it. This is a code. It's like
Okay.
an actual code. That little thing that you saw when I was trying to, that's why I was like holding it up so you could see it.
Yeah.
And how that guy learned that was he is a computer coder.
Okay.
And this is over, many, many years. He was trying to find answers for his aging mother who had MS, and he was trying to alleviate her symptoms. And it's kind of funny, but like everybody has their own like place where they kind of land. Like they're really good at the different things. He's really gifted and really good at noticing patterns.
Hmm.
And so he studied over 250,000 brain scans. And he started to notice that there were patterns with different things. And so that's how he was able to formulate this because he's familiar with how the body is like a computer.
Yeah.
And then he learned about this research with how, your skin is intelligent and if you put a coat on it, it will it's kind of like reformatting a computer,
Yeah.
putting a new program on it.
Interesting. Thank you for that. That's
Yeah,
great.
no, you're no problem. And I mean, I'm probably not the most like educated person to talk. I'm not a scientist or anything like that.
Mhm.
I'm just somebody who I produce events, I bring people together, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one thing that I know is that I didn't tell anybody about me personally using the patches for over a year. It took me so long to start talking about it, but then I realized one day I actually am kind of selfish for not because it's given me so much relief in so
Uh-huh.
many ways. And so that's why I started openly, just sharing it with people. And it's crazy how there's one gentleman, he came to my wellness studio and I gave him a foot zone. And the main reason why he was there was because he wanted some relief from some pain that he'd been in.
Yeah.
And when you're sitting in the foot zone and you're having a full body nervous system reset, I mean, you can't help but find relief. But then I happened to mention to him about how my husband had been using the Freedom one, this one here.
Hmm.
And so I said, here, just take I gave him I don't know, maybe 2 weeks worth. I said, just try it. You might need to put them in different places to see if it will work, but try it.
Hmm.
If you have a hip pain, try one on this side, and then maybe the next day try it on the other side to see if it works better. You kind of have to play with it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I gave him a few, a bunch actually, more than like one or two.
Yeah.
And he I'm so grateful. He said, I found something that actually works. And so
That's
he's
so
telling
great.
all of his buddies, he has a physical labor job, where he's
Oh,
man
yeah.
and they can kind of take a toll on you. My husband's a
Right.
UPS driver and he's been doing that for many years. And most of his buddies have had shoulder replacement surgeries,
Yeah.
knee replacement surgeries. So to have something that you can put on somebody's knee, you can
Yeah.
put on their shoulder, and just help them with it. It's nice. You don't have to worry about them getting addicted to stuff too.
That's so great. So tell us a little bit about foot zoning. What is that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, because I told you my grandmother, she had become really, really skilled at reflexology.
Hmm.
It's really about how the organs are connected to the nerve endings in the feet. So
Okay.
when you stimulate different parts on the feet, it can help with that particular thing. And how my grandma came to learn about it was after my grandfather had died from a heart attack.
Mm.
She was in her 50s, which I think is now is so young, you know
I
what I
know.
mean? But like I was 8 at the time when my grandfather passed away, and I just remember watching my grandma. She ended up having such severe sciatica pain that
Hmm.
she couldn't walk. In
Mm.
fact, for months, she was bedridden, and somebody had suggested that she go to this man named Fritz, and she went to him. And I mean, it wasn't like a walk in the park or something. It wasn't like one day and boom. It was very painful, but she was able to get relief and then up again and boom and start walking. But it did take some time and it did take some effort.
Hmm.
But because of her transformational experience with it, she became very um, she wanted to help other people. And so anytime and I inherited all of her reflexology books too,
Okay.
um, which is way cool. So I started learning more about it and practicing. And so as I've been raising my kids, when they, had a stomach ache or something like that, I would know you could rub their feet and you could put maybe some peppermint oil over where the stomach is if they have a
Hmm.
tummy ache. If they're having trouble sleeping, maybe put a little bit of lavender up and down the spine, you
Hmm.
know, and just doing different things like that. So when I had the opportunity to take foot zoning school, which came over from Norway, and that so from Norway to Montana, ironically, and then some of the other schools started to branch out from there. But I took it, it was about a 9 month program, over 180 hours,
Hmm.
and lots of practice on top of that. But then what happens is it's kind of like your body is the computer and your feet are the keyboard.
Uh-huh.
And so, you know how like when you have like a device like your computer or your phone or something and it's kind of glitching or something like that, oftentimes you're told turn it off and then turn it back on. And so when you're on the feet with reflexology or foot zoning, because they're both very similar, it's almost like you are doing a reset on the body. And you
Hmm.
can stimulate different organs and different tissues. And in fact, we even learn how to do different energy balances with the chakras
Oh, cool.
in zoning. So I would call it almost like an advanced version of reflexology. Reflexology is comes from traditional Chinese medicine. But there's just been some things that have gone on that people are like, oh, but what if I do this? And they've seen patterns. Oh, if I do this, it does help with this kind
Hmm.
of thing. And it's documented. So as you've been able to practice and you've been able to learn and see people have these experiences time and time again. So that's what it is. And it's cool because you can even do it remotely.
Oh, like Reiki.
So yes, in fact, I during 2020, I foot zoned somebody that was in Missouri, and I'm here in Utah. And I was on the phone with them, and I had my own foot using my foot as proxy,
Okay.
going through the signals. And I said to her, "Now I'm on the kidneys right now, but I have to tell you, it's very hot to the touch, very hot.
Hmm.
It's raised up, it looks inflamed, and it's also red on my own foot.
Uh-huh.
Are you having kidney issues at all?" And she said, I have kidney stones right now. I wasn't going to tell you. So I was able to, I could literally feel these little bumps through where the kidney stones would actually be. And here I am working on my own foot here, and she was in Missouri. Isn't that so interesting? But
I
I could
love it.
feel
So
it.
you were using your own body as an assessor, an assessment, proxy. Did she receive immediate connection to the intervention at a distance? Did she feel it?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Everything that I was doing, she could feel it. So that's why I wanted to be on the phone with her so that we could communicate.
Yeah.
Was sharing with her what was coming up for me, what
Yeah.
I was seeing and feeling, and then she could, of course, then talk to me. And she was doing some just relaxing, deep breathing most of the time, but then she would also say, "Oh, this is what I'm feeling. Oh my gosh, what just happened?" That kind of thing.
That's
So,
wonderful. That's so cool. I've done distance work too with Reiki and with Bankston method and stuff. And so
yeah.
usually it's more general. I mean, it
Mhm.
can be specific, but yours is like a micro, like you have a map basically of the body on the foot. And so that's really, really specific. The image I have is that old game that we used to play Operation.
Yeah,
The
that's
little
too funny.
pulling out the little parts of the body with tweezers and lighting them up or whatever. But that's so cool. Oh, this has been such a delightful conversation. I'm just so impressed by your breadth and depth of knowledge and how you're able to bring so many domains together and fluidly like play with them like puzzle pieces. It's just not everyone can do that. And you're clearly following your mission and your calling in life to bring these incredible skills together. So thank you so much. And I know that you're going to continue growing and
Yeah.
bringing, I'm curious to see what another 5 years will bring. But is there
Yeah.
anything else you'd like to share as we come to the end of our time together?
Well, if anyone is ever like watching this and they have something inside of them, a message, or they want to help other people learn about how they help people, they can definitely go right on our website to apply to speak. I like to do interviews with each and every single applicant. I talk to them in great detail. I want to be able to really help them to be able to maximize even if it's just something that I can do online, because I am going to be doing an online conference
Oh,
um, actually in January. So 2026, we'll be doing a nice large conference then. So if there's people that you know that want to help others and they can do it, distantly, or, they can take clients, or maybe they have a group setting, they can do that. They can just go to energyhealingconference.com. And because I am really passionate about entrepreneurship, with people who are really heart-centered, I would love that. And one thing also is people who are watching your podcast, if they ever want to come to one of our conferences for free, tell them that they can just send me an email. Tammy at hopehavenevents.com, Tammy at hopehavenevents with an S.com. And I would be so happy to give them a free ticket. And even our VIP tickets don't cost very much, you know. So even if they wanted to come and have either lunch included or front row seats, I mean, it is just a fabulous experience. It's a great way to meet others in the energy healing community. And I want to say thank you so much for all that you do. You're such a sweetheart, and I've loved having you on my YouTube channel and podcast as well. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you for so generously inviting the audience in to your events. And I'm excited to, so do you have the date for your January conference online?
It is not online yet, but it should be very soon.
Okay,
So.
because when this airs January 1st of 2026, will it be too late for people to sign up for your online event?
No, we will have at least 500 people will be able to participate live, and then we will be sending out the replay that will be available for at least 1 week after.
Super.
So even if they, are not signed up right away, that's okay.
Okay, wonderful. So all of that information, your email address, and the conference information and your business and website and all of that will be in the program notes so people can get a hold of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for joining today. Bye-bye, everyone.
See ya.
Thank you for joining us for today's podcast. If you want to learn more, you can visit my website for podcast and resources at hopshealingtips.com. You can also like, share, and subscribe to this channel. This podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only and is not providing healthcare advice. Please seek guidance from your professional healthcare team should you need assistance.